Thank you. Goethe was one of those rare geniuses who excelled at just about everything he set his mind to. Looking back on his life, he once observed that the greatest difficulties always seemed to lie precisely where he failed to look for them. Now, when I first read those lines, I immediately thought of the institution of marriage. Where young people ever get the idea that marriage is going to be a round-the-clock picnic is beyond me. Well, to be perfectly honest, I guess they get the idea from us married folks. Those of us who weather marriage, who manage to survive after 30 or 40 years of certified togetherness, often paint a rather glowing picture of wedded bliss. I wish I had a nickel for every letter I've received from husbands and wives who write about the great mistake they made in getting married. Just the other day I heard from a young businessman who knew right after the wedding that he'd made a horrible botch of things. Even though he'd stuck it out for 9 long years, both of them knew for sure the whole thing was a disaster and that they just didn't love each other. Well, he decided to grin and bear it. But that still didn't make the relationship much more pleasant. After this word, it will be my pleasure to tell you how this fellow brought romance back into his shaky marriage. My correspondent was a whiz of a businessman, and one day he decided to apply the principles of his professional success to his failing marriage. That was smart. At the office, he made a point of approaching every problem creatively and thoughtfully, looking for opportunities rather than dwelling on obstacles. He asked himself, was his wife really as dull a person as he'd been telling himself all these years? And he took a long look at himself, too, which was also smart. What he saw was that he had been draining her dry and not feeding her the small niceties that women need to be their most feminine selves. So he decided to forget about the long haul and the sweeping judgments. And what did he do? He brought home a single red rose. He watched her bask and glow in that tiny bit of thoughtfulness for one entire evening. Suddenly, it became clear to him. All the qualities he'd given up for lost in his wife miraculously started to reappear. The thrill of a good marriage doesn't lie in the easy pleasures. It lies in meeting its day-to-day challenges in a creative way. This, my friends, is the great secret of married romance.